first of all, I want to make a comment that it's just per chance that they are wearing similar ties, or it's some prudential regulations result. Anyhow.
No, we buy in bulk, so we get a discount.
I have been a retail customer, and I have association with all the 3 banks which are being represented here. I have a little question. There is a small product which our banks are not offering to their customers.
Sorry, can you come again?
There is a product which is not being offered by banks to their retail customers, and I don't know about CFOs if they need this product as well. That is dealing in foreign currency exchange, open market. I am banking with Bank Al-Falah. When I need dollars, or I need to encash the dollars, I have to walk out and go to a money changer. Why banks are not having dedicated branches for open foreign currency market operations? I know it's a state bank restriction, but why this product is not being offered? Why I am compelled to go out, walk out, take my cash and go to a money changer and rely on him for the authenticity of the foreign currency I am purchasing, in which many frauds do occur from time to time, and through surface people lose their money. And why banks are not offering this retail product, which is very essential, and banks also can make some, every bank can have its own rate according to its own demand or supply of dollars or whatever currency we are talking of, and offer a rate, display it, and anyone can go in and buy or sell or whatever as an open market operation.
Okay, let's address that. You can pick it up further at lunchtime.
Well, I think basically, selling is more of a regulatory requirement, but to facilitate customer, like in all good banks, there are brokers who come into the branches and then you can do the transaction, so you don't have to take your money out. But yes, I think that's more to do with the regulations. Our banks are not allowed to deal openly with the foreign currency. That's what my take would be on the answer.
I think my understanding is that the banks can take the dollars or any foreign currency, but at the what you call, there's no official or unofficial, but in inverted comma,
but if you want to go for that,
so
you have to
you
go
can convert it.
Sell it to the broker.
But that the curb market rate, which is not illegal,
official transaction can be done, but not at the curb.
And I think you'll find that in most countries, actually. And sir, I am going to come to you. I know you're very eager to ask a question, so you're next. Whoever has the microphone, please. Sir, stand up and address your question.
Salman Amin, I'm working for OGTCL. I have a question for Mizan Bank as well as Al-Falah Bank. That banking is a very important segment of macroeconomics in a country. How they are visualizing the circular debt issue, and how they would like to be part of getting a long-term solution to this circular debt issue, which is really haunting us.
Circular debt is the biggest problem that we are facing. Everything around the energy problem, and circular debt is part of it. The circular debt essentially, in layman terms, I try to explain to myself what it is the lack of the government's ability to make their revenues and costs equate. So today, the total cost per unit of generating, distributing electricity and covering the losses is about 14 rupees per unit. Whereas what the government is being able to collect in various companies is about, give or take, 10 rupees per unit. So you have about a 4 rupee gap. That translates to about 400 billion rupees per annum. That can only be then covered by either subsidies from the government, or they come to banks and they borrow from banks. So is that going to go away? It's not going to go away till that equation matches, which is the revenues that they collect should be at least covering their costs. So we're going to see this problem stay there till for as long as they cannot fix this management issue. And banks will continue to therefore have to fund through investment in securities, which is really going to fund that gap. Unfortunately, this is a problem that we have, which we are not being able to address at that level. So I don't see a solution anytime soon.
We have another question here. We have lots of questions. This is great. Thank you for bearing with us, gentlemen. But I think we have a lovely session going on. Sir.
Yes, this is Masood Ahmed from Deloitte. My question is addressed to Mr. Atif Bajwa. Sir, you talked about lending difficulties. Would you like to expand on this? What are the lending difficulties being faced by the financial institutions, and what the banks themselves are doing to address those lending difficulties?
Sir, when I said lending difficulties, it means that when we have to make a decision to lend to the private sector, we have to ensure that the money will also come back, right? Because, as we said, it's actually the depositor's money. That is where we're having difficulty to find enough projects where we can actually convince ourselves that this money will come back. And the statistics show that other than government lending, private sector lending, 33% does not come back or goes into non-performing. That's a huge number. So therefore, we have a problem. It's not all because we're lending to the wrong guys or the wrong people who have bad intentions. It's because, let's say, we've lent to the textile industry or the electronics industry. They don't have electricity. Sustainable energy is necessary for them to produce and sell their goods and then pay us back. If they don't have that, obviously they're going to have difficulty. So we have a problem in the sense, it's a dilemma. I mean, we can't blame these customers. They're going through a tough time, not because of their own making, but then we have a responsibility to be careful in lending further. So that's the difficulty that I was referring to. And you know, part of the reason, and to an earlier question, why rates or markup rates are high, is that we have to, when actually the level of rates is not all because of banks. The fundamental rates in the economy are driven by the macroeconomic situation, inflation, fiscal management, and so the discount rate is fixed by the central bank, not by banks. What banks do is, on top of that, they charge a risk premium because we take a risk, and a liquidity premium because we have to arrange the liquidity. And if the risk in the economy goes up, therefore our rates go up a little bit. But that still is only on average about 2 to 3%, whereas your discount rate is 12% right now. So it's not the banks that actually push the rates up by themselves. It's a whole ecosystem that does it.
Now, Mohammed, there must be some. Just a moment, sir.
Sorry?
You know what? I'm going to let you ask a question in a minute. I want to pick up on this with Mohammed. Please wait for the microphone. Mohammed, come in on this in terms of small to medium-sized industry. There must be lots of great ideas out there. How, as a retail bank, are you helping them? And then we'll come back in a minute. Let Mohammed address this.
Well, a bank of our size, has reached starting from investment to corporate to commercial, retail, and microfinance. So that is very much in the scope of our bank. And I think actually the delinquency rate is a far lesser in small loans than what Atif Saab has just said is 30% in the private sector.
That's encouraging. That's
so
nice
that's encouraging. The banks are coming in a big way. We also have a specialized division of microfinance banking. So I think in small business, there's a comfort factor. The delinquencies are less, and of course, the money is available. So that's what especially representing HBL, and we are very much into small business financing.
That's a good sign. Okay, now you have a microphone.
By the same corollary, you mentioned that 33% in the private sector is not coming back. Now, in the private sector, 66% is coming back, but in the government sector, I don't think anything is coming back. In fact, they are borrowing more from you every now and then. It's adding on something like 400 billion on a yearly basis. So the banks, how long will they be able to sustain, and when will they be able to pay the depositors?
The comment was made by Irfan that actually, I think it was Irfan, that the banking sector is not necessarily that healthy. You're absolutely right. The government takes money. Do they pay us back? They don't have the cash flow. So what do? They give us more bonds. So we don't get paid in cash, we get paid in bonds. And this is a circular issue. But back to that same thing.
Technically, they have never defaulted. I think government.
No, technically, governments don't default because they can always print money, or they can give you bonds, a future obligation to pay. So we don't recognize that as non-performing. But if you really went down that path, we could have an interesting discussion about that.
But I think this is same for all the governments. I think U.S. government, if they have to repay their debt today, or any government, there's no money there, right?